request all the participants to accept the recording invitation, please.
Sorry?
I have just started the recording, so I requested all the.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, I'm here waiting. When you decide to go, you tell me to start, I will start. Thank you.
Definitely, thank you. Yeah. Dear participants, respected resource person for the day, Professor Dr. Ronnie Figurado, we will start the process.
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah. And
okay, that sounds good.
Yeah. As you are aware, St. Albert's College Autonomous, which is graded as a A-grade college and higher education institution in India, which is ranked among the best 100 institutions in all over India, is celebrating its platinum jubilee, that is its 75th year. And the founder patron, servant of God, Archbishop Joseph Attipetty, who started the college with his great vision. To remember him, we are organizing a series of international webinars. And today we have a great personality among us, Professor Dr. Ronnie Figurado, a top international speaker, the director of Center for Service Innovation, School of Business and Social Science, Universidade Europeia, from the Portugal. A short resume to introduce him will be our privilege. As shared earlier, Ronnie Figurado is a top international innovation speaker, a professor of administration in international program of European Commission, Erasmus, School of Business and Social Science, and the director of Center for Service Innovation at the Universidade of Europeia in Portugal. He is a professor of innovation for business at the IPAM, which is the Portuguese Institute of Marketing Administration, in Executive Marketing and Business Technologies program. As an academic scientist, he is affiliated at the University of Beria Interior, UBI, at a research unit for business sciences, which is basically into the developing studies in innovation for SMEs. He is a preferred peer reviewer for the Economics of Innovation portfolio to Redley Taylor and Francis Group. He is the international membership at the International Society for the Professional Innovation Management, ISPIM, as a professor, a researcher member in value-based innovation to discuss innovation with 70 plus countries in consulting, industry, and public sector. Currently, he is an invited professor in the topic Marketing Strategy Leader at Nova School of Business and Economics, working in the Nextland project. He holds a postdoc in the Management and Economics, specialized in innovation from the UBI, and PhD in Management Systems, Innovations specialization from the Federal Fluminense University, which is basically an engineering school. He was recognized as a Portuguese PhD in Management by University of Beira Interior. He is the author of Spinner Innovation Model, published in indexed international journals and book chapters. He has edited and co-edited books on strategic management and innovation and published papers in international journals, including Journal of Knowledge Economy, Business Process Management, International Journal of Social Ecology and Sustainable Development, Journal of Family Business Management, and Journal of Global Information Management. He is an expert in qualitative research, developing studies focused on SMEs, which is small to medium enterprises, applying the Spinner innovation model. And it's great privilege for the St. Albert's College Autonomous, especially my office of the Dean, Training and Development, as well as all the participants over here. On behalf of St. Albert's College Autonomous, I cordially welcome our beloved resource person for the day, Professor Dr. Ronnie Figurado, to this webinar. Hearty welcome, Professor.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, all the audience. It's a pleasure to me. I'm here just to share with you and all the audience, students, researchers, colleagues, professors, doctors, and whatever,
She will share a little bit more spin innovation topic. Spin innovation model was a model created, designed by me 5 years ago when I concluded my PhD program. So it's a pleasure to share with you. I divide my presentation in 3 and 4 parts, depends on the time. The first part, I will introduce some information about myself, just more a little bit. Second part, I will introduce the spin innovation model for everyone. And then I will present the reason to create the spin innovation model. And then I will present some examples in terms of using spin innovation model in research, exactly. And then I will open for a question and conclude my presentation. So that's my plan to stay here sharing with you today. So I will ask you if I can share my presentation. It's possible?
Please.
Okay, thank you. I will share in just one moment, please. Okay. Let me see. Can you see the presentation, please?
Yes, perfectly.
Okay, thank you for the feedback. So let's start. As Dr. Shine said, spin innovation model is the main topic to the presentation today. I'm Dr. Ronnie Figurado. I'm from School of Business and Social Science, Universidade Europeia, or European University in Portugal, in Lisbon. And I'm the director of the Center for Service Innovation at the same university. So during my career, in terms of research and entrepreneur and the professor, I have been working in innovation and strategy to get more competitiveness in terms of performance in SME, small and medium enterprise. So here, I think this slide is not necessary because Dr. Shine said some information about me. I think you can skip this slide because that's not the focus on my presentation or our presentation. So I think the presentation starts here, explaining for you what is this main picture on the screen. This picture is, of course, the spin innovation model. Okay, so I will introduce this model, this picture, and then after the next slides, I will present step-by-step, dimension by dimensions, and variables, and the example to use dimensions and variables applying the model together. So, a spin innovation model is based on knowledge intense in the business service. As you can see in the center of the circle, we have a named knowledge intense in the business service around the spinner model. What is knowledge intense in the business service? Or other mean can say only KIBS, K-I-B-S. Knowledge intense in the business service, or KIBS, is a specific service sector when you apply knowledge intense for you design a solution for any kind of enterprise. So it's a specific sector that you present example in the next steps. So looking for this image, we have in the center, in the top, we have one ball, a global ball with the name firms. We have on the other side, we have SMEs, and on the other side, you have a sector. So firms is exactly a kind of KIBS, firms that provide a knowledge intense in the business services for another one enterprise. SME, of course, you have a small and medium enterprise categories in terms of enterprise, companies, and the organization. In general, SMEs contract firms that will share exactly knowledge intention to design a specific solution to help SMEs to be more competitiveness in terms of innovation. And in the other hand, to conclude the 3 dimensions, firms, SMEs, and the sector, we have, of course, a sector. In terms of economics, we have a sector, economic sector, and the first option, second option, or the third options in terms of sector. I will present for you all this information. I'm just introducing the topic. We have a sector. So the idea is we have a firms that SMEs contract to be more competitive, apply innovation in exactly a specific sector. But for this situation happen, using the spin innovation model, we have a process behind that. The 3 dimensions have 3 variables flowing as a process. We have a knowledge creation here on the left, we have a knowledge transfer on the right, and here we have innovation. So the idea is when some SMEs contract firms to design a solution based on the knowledge intensity business search to be more competitive in the sector. For this situation happen, as I said, these firms need to make 3 processes, or 3 stages, or 3 steps in terms of one process. First, use the main variable, knowledge create, then move it to knowledge transfer, and then to move it for knowledge innovation. So the idea is, imagine some firms was contract to create a knowledge intensity, to transfer a knowledge intensity, and try to promote innovation in a specific SMEs that contract the firms. If something like that happen, I think this organization, SMEs, can be more competitive because this organization already created value through knowledge intensive solutions in terms of innovation as a result of this solution applied in the process, in the product, in the marketing, or in the enterprise. Based on this model, we have more 2 keywords. We have a private knowledge and we have a public knowledge. What is that, and what is the relationship between with the firms, SMEs, sectors, knowledge creation, knowledge transfer, knowledge intensive solutions provided, and innovation as a result. So we have 2 ways to combine it to create the relationship with the firms and SMEs. So you can combine, of course, knowledge creation, knowledge transfer, and knowledge intensive only using internal knowledge. In this case, you are looking for internal. When I say internal knowledge, I mean private knowledge. What is private knowledge? Private knowledge is the knowledge that exists inside the enterprise, the organizations. And of course, the public knowledge is the opposite than private knowledge. Is the knowledge that already exists outside the organization. So it's so important if you decide to use the spinning innovation model in India, in any kind of enterprise, it's so important. First, you analyze if you have all the knowledge inside your organization to support knowledge creation, knowledge transfer, knowledge intensive design solutions, and innovation. If you don't have, I think it's so important you're looking for outside your enterprise and try to identify any kind of specific partnership or any kind of specific of firms that have exact knowledge intensive solutions to provide to help you create your solution. But for all this happen, you need to follow 3 exactly values in terms of organization or principles. You decide the best word for your enterprise. You can consider agility, mindset, and organizational transformation as a value inside your organizational culture, or you can consider as a principle based on your culture. No problem. So agility is exactly the time you have to take the decision. So you need to be very quickly, very fast to take the decision because you have a competitions on the market, you have a competitors on the market, and the idea is take the decision very fast to be more competitive. On the other hand, you have the mindset. Mindset is the way your organization are thinking in terms of decisions. So if you are introducing spin innovation model, you are looking for the change the way you are working now for the way you are working in the future. The idea is to change your mindset, but it's necessary to first change the mindset about your employees, then about your process, then about your sectors, and then about your enterprise. So that's the idea. Agility is the meaning of time to take the decision, and the mindset is the way you are thinking, the way you are conducting, the way you are leadership in your organization. And organizational transformation is the consequence if you are very quickly in terms of decision, if you are changing the way you are thinking, the way your colleagues and the way your employees are thinking in your organization, and you move all this circle in terms of dynamic, if you turn around 306 degrees, you can have innovation as a result. If you have innovation as a result, you can make the organizational transformation in your enterprise. So that's the main keywords that I need to present for you in the beginning of this presentation. So now let's see all these part during the next slides. Just one information before I present the next slide step by step. I'd like to say for everyone that the Spin Innovation Model, it's a free and open tool or a methodology or model exactly that you can use for any times in any situations, okay? So if would you like to use the Spin Innovation Model in your country, in your enterprise, in your university, in your public sector, no problem. You can ask me. It will be a very pleasure to share with you more information. How can you apply the Spin Innovation Model in your country, wherever. So here, just to say that based on this, Spin Innovation Model are protected in more than 176 countries around the world. It's a certified model, okay? Okay, now I introduce a little bit more information. The reason I will create the Spin Innovation Model in Europe, exactly, especially in Portugal. According to the European Commission, small and medium enterprise, SMEs, represent 99% of all business in the European Union. More information, to have more attention, the definition of SME is important for understanding the contributions for developed economic around the world. So if we're looking for the two sectors or two segments in terms of performance for contribute for the economic development, we have exact SME in Europe, especially in Portugal, but you have all of these in the Europe. SMEs is the first, and the second is a family business. So if you decide to invest the time, invest the knowledge to develop economic in Europe, I think it's necessary to looking for the SMEs, and you're looking for the family. But part of the family business can be considered as SMEs, okay? So the way to follow the SMEs performance is implement the Small Business Act, SBA. SBA is a specific, Small Business Act is a specific program from Portugal government, create as a kind of funding to support innovations in terms of SMEs in Portugal. The Spin Innovation Model was developed, of course, to contribute to the European Commission in terms of SMEs performance, to get more improvement in terms of performance, with the perspective on the future in terms of firms can be a promoter of the relationship with the SMEs, and that's the creation of the new knowledge, transfer knowledge, and innovation to the sector economic development based in a knowledge-intensive business service or knowledge-intensive solution. Just to complete, innovation is perceived. Innovation is a consequence of knowledge creation, knowledge transfer, knowledge design in terms of intensive solution, and solution applying specific in the process, in the product, in the culture, whatever you consider important in terms of innovation in your enterprise. So when you are doing this, or when you are done this, the idea is to have three processes interacting with the private and the public knowledge, delivering, of course, knowledge solution, as I said, but knowledge solution based in one, two, or three exactly SMEs ideas. So, or solutions. You can base your solutions in a professional solutions, or in a technological solutions, or in a culture solutions, or you can consider solution in this case as intelligence, okay? Because if you using data, transform data into information, and if you use information and apply information in a problem to collaborate with your partnership to create a knowledge-intensive solution, and apply, of course, these knowledge-intensive solutions. In example, in a process, you can transform your organization. An organization can be more competitive in terms of SME size. But for you to do this or that, you can focus your intelligence or organizational intelligence in terms of professional solution, technological solution, or cultural solutions, or the three options. Professional solution is exactly solution with a knowledge intensive, but without technology approach. Of course, technology approach is the opposite of professional, so you have a strong and a hard technology applied on the solution. Suppose machine learning, IoT, artificial intelligence, and whatever you consider. In terms of profession, you don't have nothing in terms of technology approach, okay? We have example, in terms of professional, we have a lawyers, we have a consultancy, we have accountability, anything like that, that you provide only service. teachers, professors, anything like that. In terms of culture, intelligence, or knowledge apply, you are looking for the values in terms of organization that you consider so important to insert in your organization for you transform in a new organization. Don't forget that I present for you in the beginning of the presentation, the last slides, culture or principle is the same in this case in the model, but culture is the way you think in terms of behavior organization. So if you need to move and change your mindset, you need to looking for a new values, you need to looking for your cultural intelligence in terms of organization. So continue, the speed of organizational agility and the change of the mindset can make, of course, the organizational transformation to support a new deliveries to customers. So in general, people working at the enterprise have two ways to go. First, you can looking for inside your organization and try to think with your employees what you consider the best solution to support your customer needs. Another way to do the same thing, or another way to do something like that is to look for the market and ask your customers what kind of needs would you like to support to solve. And then you come back to your enterprise and you design the solution, then you move for the market and present and validate with your customers. So you make this process, this dynamic process for all the time. So you can consider one name for you support this dynamic is a loop. So you make the first looping, the second looping, the third loop, any loopings you consider important and necessary for you provide an excellent solution for your customer. Okay, so continue in the current economic scenario. The challenge is to convert, the big challenge is to convert efforts rapidly, very quickly in order to improve innovation system through the creation, knowledge, transfer knowledge, and active, of course, the necessary competitive advantage for the internalization of their service. So some situation when you use the spin innovation model is not necessary to working with the internalization process or strategy. You are just looking for to apply the knowledge creation, knowledge transfer, and design a knowledge solution to create an innovation to be more competitive. But between innovation create and apply in your organization and the competitive advantage, you have in the middle a value create. So that's the idea. When you are designing a solution using spin innovation model, you are thinking, of course, the needs that your customer have to solve, what is the main problem, but you need to think what kind of solution and value you are create or you decide to create to support your customer needs. So that's the way to be more competitive. Sharing not solution, but sharing a value inside the solution, okay? So here, in terms of the dynamics, number 1, number 2, and number 3, it's exactly the basis of the pyramid, or the diamond, in terms of the picture. We have in the top firms as a promoters of the interaction with the knowledge-intensive service sector. So the idea is firms, specific kind of sector, firms in the specific kind of sector have a strong and a specific and a specialized knowledge to support different problems. So imagine this case, I'm from School of Management and Engineers, so I have some opportunities to combine management with engineers. I studied in engineering schools, and I studied in the management school, and now I'm working in a management school. It's a fantastic experience because my colleagues from engineers are very technical, very strong, very hard in terms of process indicators, KPIs, solutions, mathematics, statistics, whatever. And my colleagues from School of Management is a fantastic in terms of approach of planning, develop, control, flow, etc., and so on, so on, so on. So it's a fantastic because the based on the spin innovation model is we working with an interdisciplinary approach. If you invite your colleagues from engineering school, from mathematics school, statistics schools, management schools, psychology schools, communication school, whatever, I think we will have a good solution, a good knowledge-intensive solution provided, because the base, as I said, is an interdisciplinary approach, interdisciplinary knowledge. So SMEs in the second options, and at created a new knowledge transfer innovation. Of course, SMEs are receiving, in this case, knowledge solution created by the number one, the firms that promote the interactions with the firms, promote the interaction with the SMEs, that's correct to say. And the last one, number three, the interaction in the sector is carried between public knowledge and the private knowledge. So if you consider, as I said, important to use only knowledge inside your organization to provide the solution, it's not necessary to looking for the market and contract exactly firms with a specific knowledge. You can look for your enterprise inside. You can identify specific employees that have a specific knowledge to support the process that you need to change. Okay? So here I will detail more information about what is examples in terms of firms, SMEs, and sector to be more clear in terms of model application. So let's continue. Firms, what is firm? Firm is a for-profit business, usually formed as a partnership that provide professional service, such as a legal or accounting service. The theory of the firm is positive that firms exist to maximize the profits. The firms provide knowledge-intensive business service keeps as a solution. So firms is exactly a specific enterprise that have a strong knowledge in one specific topic to support your needs in terms of SMEs, in terms of enterprise. So pay attention, because sometimes some people confuse professional knowledge with a special knowledge. Okay, professional knowledge, it will have information to support any kind of enterprise in terms of solution. But special knowledge, when you say that you are specializing on topic, you are very, very reference on this topic. So imagine, as an example, you are contract a lawyer office to support your enterprise in terms of solution. You can consider this office in terms of lawyers as a professional or a specialized service. Professional, if this lawyer, if these or that lawyers have a different approach, family approach, enterprise approach, civil approach, whatever. It's a professional because you are looking and working in more than one topics. When you are looking and work only in one topic with a strong solutions, example, the same ideas, but only a civil approach or only a family approach or only a business approach in terms of lawyer, you are a specialized. So that's the idea of firms, okay? SMEs, micro, small, and medium enterprise, make 99% of the business in the European Union. They are responsible, as I said to you, for 2/3 of the 3 jobs in the private sector and contribute more than a half of the total added value created by companies in the European Union. Several actions program, as I present to you, example, Small Business Act is an example of the program, a funding program from the Horizon 2020 or 2020. It's the last program in Europeia for the developed European economy, and now it's finished. This program are finishing this year, and this year's the government presented another program to support a new way to see the Horizon 2020 will be another Europe 2027. That's the name of the new program. The Horizon finished this year, and Europe 2027 will be the next, starting the next years and finishing in 27 years. And the COSME is another way, name of the program to support. It's important to know that emphasize that it's a program created for the government, okay? But you can contract, you can accept some support coming from the private enterprise or the private SMEs. So you can use government as one source, you can use a private enterprise as another source, you can use universities, as another source. You can use centers of research centers at universities as another sources. So you can be inserted on the ecosystem, innovation ecosystem, to working with your networking to support all the partners in terms of the same interest for your business. So continuing in terms of sector, you can divide economic sectors in three parts. The first is a primary, and the second one is a secondary, and the last one is a tertiary. Example in terms of primary sectors, we have agricultural sectors. Examples in terms of secondary, we have industry. And example in terms of the third sector, tertiary sector, we have goods and services. So I think this is the most important slides in terms of presentation, because here we have the main three keywords in terms of the spin innovation model. We have the sectors, we have the SMEs, and we have more details about the firms. So on the left here, we have a list. All these sources are coming from European commissions, okay? We have a list on the website in the European Commission with different kind of sectors. Example here, aeronautical industry, automotive industry, biotechnology, chemical, construction, cosmetic defense, whatever, and raw materials, socioeconomic space, and whatever. Here on this table, we have some numbers in terms of the SME size for you validate if you are working and making a research with a small, a medium, or a micro enterprise. So we have some indicator KPIs in terms of headcount, in terms of turnover, and in terms of a balance sheet total, okay? So you can consider using these numbers in the three indicators, headcount, turnover, and then balance sheet as indicator for you, convincing in terms of research that you are looking and analyzing specific micro, small, or medium enterprise. And then you have here to conclude your model in the beginning. You have the firms. As I said, for you, you can consider scientists, engineers, lawyers, consultants as a part of the specific firms. But if you're looking for NACE division, NACE is a specific list, it's a specific organization that classifies knowledge-intensive business firms. So NACE classify firms as service provide in terms of professional provide, or in terms of technological provide, or culture. But in this case, NACE only support at least in terms of technological or professional KIBs. So here you have a small example from NACE Division 7.2, computer and the related activities, and we have a list above in terms of 721, 722, 723, and so on, so on. So one is a hardware consultancy, software consultancy and supply, data processing, database activities, and the other things that are so important to you. In terms of the ideas here is in this panel, I think it's so important in terms of the presentation, because imagine you don't know anything about spin innovation model. Now I'm presenting for you for the first time spin innovation model, and I said, oh, spin innovation, to start to use spin innovation, we have three main keywords to think before you go. Of course, you need to think in the three dimensions: sectors, SMEs, and the firms. So you have a list to choose one sectors, make your choice. Imagine here is a real example, okay, that I present for you, that I tell you now, that I tell you. So here I'm working at the sector, space sector. In terms of space sector or business space or space business, whatever you consider, the same definitions. In terms of space market, I'm working with the EO, Earth Observation Project. So imagine I'm making my choice, I select in terms of list space, and inside the space, I decided to analyze or apply spin innovation model to analyze innovation in terms of EO market, Earth Observation Market, okay? So the second choice that I need to do, if you analyze a medium, small, or micro enterprise, so exactly this sector, space, more than 6 and 5 percent in terms of enterprise are coming from a small and a business enterprise. So SMEs, to analyze exactly this space sector, is a fantastic, because as Spinner is based on the SMEs, and the space sectors are more than 65% in terms of enterprises are coming from SMEs, okay? The other parts are coming from the government, and a little bit less part are coming from a big private company. So then I decided to work in the space, in the EO Earth observation sectors, analyze, suppose, a small enterprise, applying spin innovation model to identify or to design a knowledge intensive solution based on technology. So it's a real situation that I'm living in another university, in another school of business economics, okay? So for give you more one example, to be more clear. So here, I'd like to introduce some two charts or graphics. It's based on the last European Innovation Scoreboard in 2020. It's a research made one time, one night per year. It's a specific organization, of course, European Innovation, that make this research happen during the years, year by year. So here we can see exactly when they are looking for an innovator's country, we can see the Portugal in the first line with the best performance. It's the consequence on the last 5 years in terms of government strategy that Portugal established the innovation as the main drive in terms of economic development. And on the right, you have more information. It's a little bit information, okay? You have a lot of information inside this report. Here you have on the right, SMEs innovate in-house. The idea is which this report considering the best country in terms of performance inside the country. So innovation happen inside the Portugal, not outside the Portugal. So the idea, it's so important to be in mind that if you are working in your country, first, in my opinion, you need to promote your country, use all the resources inside and outside to promote the economic in your country. And then you can promote the economic approach or the economy in another countries, okay? But you need to looking first for, in my opinion, in my own opinion, you need to looking for your country, and you need to integrate your country, the people in your country, the value, the resource. Independently, if you have a lot of resources, if you don't have a lot of resources. As you can see, you can promote the innovation, or you can try to promote the innovation using spin innovation model independently if you have a technology or if you don't have a technology. So if you don't have a technology, or if you have, you can use the spin innovation model at the same approach. So on this slide, I'd like to present just a little keywords in terms of the model. Have a knowledge creation at the first stage, the first step. After you create a knowledge in your enterprise, you need to share, to combine this knowledge with your colleagues, with your departments, and you need to transfer this knowledge inside your organization. Then you need to transfer, you need to design the knowledge intensive solutions, and then you apply the knowledge intensive solutions in the processes, in a product, in a marketing approach, or all the organization. So we have here as the consequence the innovation. Here we can see a flow created based on the spin innovation model to be more clear in terms of process. How can you use the model in terms of the process? So on the left, you have 3 balls, 3 circles in the different colors, CK, PK, TK. The meaning is CK, of course, as you can see above, cultural knowledge, PK, professional knowledge, and TK, technological knowledge, as I already presented to you in the last slides. So this, just to remember, it's the 3 main kinds of outcomes in terms of knowledge intensive solutions provided. You can use only one, or you can combine more than one, 2 or 3. Okay, So here, between the public knowledge and the private knowledge, to remember, is knowledge that have inside the organization. This funnel here is representing your enterprise, okay? So you introduce the spin between the public knowledge and the private knowledge, and you try to combine, of course, the solutions and the knowledge to knowledge creation process, to knowledge intensive solution, and then knowledge transfer. But if you pay attention, the way or the flow here is different than I'm presenting. We have a knowledge creation first, then you have a knowledge intense, and then you have a knowledge transfer. During my presentation, until this slide, I said to you knowledge creation, knowledge transfer, and then knowledge intense. Okay, I will present the different. So, as I said, it's not necessary to follow step by step. It's so important to have the idea in terms of the application, but you need to adapt the application in your business, in your culture. So here, of course, first you should knowledge create. Then you can think with your team, your leaderships, you can think to transfer the knowledge that you create. Imagine you are working in your enterprise in the different departments, marketing office or finance office, accountability office, engineer office. So only on this alone, the department, first step, create knowledge. Then transfer the knowledge between this office, and then provide the solution to transfer for the organization. So first, the office create alone the knowledge, then the offices combine the solution, and then the offices transfer the solutions for all the stakeholders. So if you make this with agility, if you have a quick decisions, and if you change the way we are doing for the new way we do, you can make the organizational transformations happen. Of course, you can have index in terms of success, innovation happens in your organization, okay? So continue here, we have another way to see with more details. We have on the left, of course, on the top, we have firms. In the middle of this process model, we have SMEs. In the other hand, we have sectors. So we have 6 balls, 6 circles, or 6 balls here, combine 3 in terms of firms with 3 in terms of SMEs. That's the idea in terms of the pictures that I told you in the last slide. You can combine 1, 2, or 3 kinds of knowledge-intensive solutions in terms of firms, because in this case, firms are exactly the public knowledge. You are contracting, or you are invite someone. Pay attention with this word contract or contracting, whatever, IND or without IND, because when I say contract, I mean we invite someone. It's not necessary to pay, okay? Because contract, remember contract. But suppose in this case, I can be a SME inviting Unity Research or Research Center inside your exactly your organization to support my enterprise in terms of solutions. So here, as I will give you an example, in Portugal, I'm working, as I said, in the beginning of the presentation, I'm a director of the Center for Service Innovation at the School of Business and Social Science, Europeia University, or Universidade Europeia, you can say in Portuguese, the correct way to say, because it's a Portuguese name. Okay, inside the centers, we have some challenges, with our students that we invite all the time during the years when I invite my students and my colleagues, students, professors, colleagues, students, to combine the expertise, to combine the skills from these students to provide the solutions for any different enterprise. So you, inside of our center, we invite the students, and then we invite the enterprise on the market to combine private with the public, and some situations, and sometimes these enterprise SMEs present the problem, present the challenge, present the customer needs, and more than 1 week, 2 weeks, depends on the time, it depends on the solutions. Our students using Speed Innovation Model to provide the solutions, and then we present the solutions for exactly the SMEs that contract, that invite you to use the Speed Innovation Model. And after that, the outcomes in terms of spinner innovation, that's the focus to use spinner in. We have 4 outcomes in terms of sectors, competitors, design, whatever. We have based on Oslo manual. Oslo manual is a report created exactly to validate if the innovations are happening or not happening. So the idea is, if you, I know that you have in terms of papers, book chapters, in terms of science, we have a many different types of innovation. We have a technology innovation, we have organizational innovations, we have market innovation, process, product, service, whatever. But based on the main reference in the word Oslo manual or Oslo report, we have only 4 types of innovation. So if you consider, if you make innovation happen in your enterprise, you will have only 4 outcomes: product, process, marketing, or organization. Product is a product, the tangible things, but you can consider service between goods or needs, okay? Or goods plus needs, tangible with intangible things at the same time. Processes is a process, the flow, the way you are working. You can change the way you are working in your enterprise. Market is in terms of image, in terms of relationship with your client or customers, in terms of CRM, customer relationship management, or in terms of strategy to go to the marketing, wherever, it's a marketing. And of course, organization is in terms of your business model, okay? So here we have the last flow created by me to apply exactly in the startup based on technology. So in our Center for Service Innovation, we have a big challenge. A specific enterprise invited me and my students to design a flow that can analyze the maturity evolution in terms of startups, from startups to SMEs. So the idea is to use this flow with the assessment approach to analyze in terms of startups in the incubation process, if you are going in a correct way, if you are in the correct stage for the correct time, whatever, and so on, so on, so on. So we applied the spin innovation model to transform startups in the SMEs, receiving, of course, knowledge intensity approach. I will explain for you. So in the beginning, the top we have the first color, blue, have in knowledge creation. In the middle, we have knowledge transfer. In the last one, we have innovation. So we have the 3 main processes in terms of the spin innovation model, as I already presented to you. So here you have startups, we have a KIPS, knowledge intensity business service, or knowledge intensity business solution that you provide to support the business. And you have the last one on the right, you have SME, and small and medium enterprise. So Figueiredo, it's me, Ronnie Figurado. I create this in these years, and they will apply in 2 specific enterprise in university. I applied this model on my university, European University, and then I apply in a university. I made a cross study research, apply in one university on India, in your country, another one university in Brazil, and another one university in Portugal. So you made a match, a cross matching process using this exactly flow. I think the next year, in terms of publication, I will publish 2 main studies using this exactly flow. But before that, if you need more information to try to use, I have all the tools. I have the survey already, I have the model, I have the flow. So it's so important to share the knowledge. It's so important to share free knowledge, okay? That's the reason, that's the idea to me. So continue here, we have knowledge creation as the first step. The second step, we have a knowledge transfer. In the last step, we have innovation. In the beginning, imagine you have an idea in your enterprise, you have an idea with your students to create an enterprise, to create a product, to create a business. So you need to create, you need to design a startup. So you are starting up a modeling, a business for you try to assess the market, to try to go to the market in a few years or in a few months, depends on your model. So first, you need to analyze based on indicators. If you, of course, you are in the TRL, important to know TRL1 and TRL2 too. So from TRL1 to TRL9 is a specific scale, is a specific assessment based on NASA, European Space Agency, okay? European Space Agency, NASA, or NASA, or NASE, National Agency, Spatial, American Agency American Agency Space, design this exact assessment for analyze the maturity model, analyze the maturity of technological enterprise, okay? So you consider the same assessment, the same scale for analyzing our models. So here we have in number 1, number 2, number 3, or it's the same level or step number 1, number 2, number 3. So you need, of course, move number 1, number 2, from number 2, number 3. But you can consider the times for these 3 steps and happen in terms of startup. This is startups, the meaning of you are thinking the way you create your business model. So we have here a lot of tasks, of course, and indicator, KPIs for you do and validate for you move number 1 to number 3. So this is a process when you are creating, thinking the value proposition in terms of startup, the business model, what you be so different on the market, and so on, so on, so on. You are creating knowledge on this process, okay? Imagine now you are start here, moving for the step 4, 5, and 6. You are in another dimensions in terms of spin innovation models. You are in a knowledge transfer because here you are receiving approach from a public knowledge. Here you are starting with, here you are starting to think in your startup using your private knowledge, and here in your knowledge transfers in terms of knowledge intensity business services, so solutions with knowledge intensity you are providing design, you are receiving knowledge from a public, okay? So here you have opportunity to make the match process. You have the solution here, you combine it with a new approach here, and after that, after 6 months, more 6 months, or suppose more 6 months, so 6, 6, 6, 1 year and a half, more 1 year and a half, you are considered 3 years. After 2 years, in terms of incubation, in our Center for Service Innovation, will be 3 years incubators, in our incubators, and then you can say for you, okay, now you can move in for the market because you're starting to sell, you can go to the marketing, you have you have all the opportunities here on the stage 7, 8, and 9 to coming on to go to the market alone without our support in terms of university. So that's the idea. And here, in terms of ecosystem, spin innovation model are connected with the innovation ecosystem in terms of topics that you can combine, or you can search, or can you make research using spin innovation model. We have a lot of here ecosystem, innovation, private investors, business model innovation, agility, governance, entrepreneurship, innovation systems, whatever you consider. So we have different kind of topics that you can connect with the spin innovation ecosystem. It's a little simple example in terms of topics. So here I'd like to introduce some example that I applied the spin innovation model. Let me check the time here. I think my time is finished, but I will conclude. Here we have some example that I present for you that I applied in terms of papers, in terms of scientific research, studies realized. You have The first example, Spinner using to analyze the prediction of propensity to innovate based on knowledge-intensive business service. It's not a qualitative, it's a quantitative using econometric approach, using logic approach, using a binary approach, using dummy variables as techniques, okay, as statistic techniques. Here we have another one, innovation and co-creation in knowledge-intensive business service. The Spinner model was applied in the different countries, in Brazil, Portugal, and wherever, using machine learning as the main methodology to support the results in terms of research. Here we have a qualitative research made with my colleague, Professor Dr. Prof from Figueiredo School of Information Technology Management, years in University in Canada. We decided to identify around the Scopus database how many scientific studies in the different areas are being conducted on the 3 pillars of the Spinner innovation model based on KIPS. So we need to compare, to make a match process to analyze Brazil and Canada in terms of studies published in knowledge creation, knowledge transfer, and knowledge innovation. Just for you know, in terms of studies published with the top innovation, Canada have 7,852 studies, and Brazil have 1,473 studies. It's a big difference, okay? So you're using here the methodology, the techniques is a clusters analysis. Here we have another one paper when you're using structural modeling, a quantitative approach to analyze the variable dependence with the variables independent, with the moderators, and with the hypothesis. We have SMEs as independent variables. We have knowledge creation, knowledge transfer, innovation as a dependent variable, and we have a modeling with private and the public, or modeling, etc., and so on, so on. You're using here structural modeling as factor analysis and linearly logistic regression. So the idea was the Spinner innovation model, understand the creation and transfer of knowledge innovation process in the SMEs, the study influence of the characteristics of small and medium-sized enterprise in the process of knowledge creation, using, of course, the approach in terms of the public and the private knowledge. So I think you conclude in the correct time. It's in my 1 hour, I think, finishing now. Thank you very much for your attention. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much, Professor Dr. Ronnie. Now I request Dr. Shiny CM, the coordinator to the Albertian Incubation Center, as well as IEDC St. Albert's College Autonomous, to thank and conclude the session for today. Dr. Shiny, over to you.
Yes, sir. So good evening to all of you. Actually, that was a wonderful session. I was just listening to the whole session delivered by Dr. Ronnie Figurado. Actually, the session was about the interesting model is being discussed all through the session, Spinner innovation model. Nowadays, we know that the governments and the countries are giving more importance to the innovation as a way to improve the performance of the small enterprises. So this is something which we lack, innovation in the business model, or the business ideas that we put forward. So innovation is, as per Sir, he says that innovation is perceived as the result of knowledge creation and knowledge transfer. From public knowledge, then to the private knowledge, then it's a kind of transfer of the creation and transfer of the knowledge that is which is required. And now what we understand or what we understood is we have to take effort to improve the innovative system or innovation system through the creation of the knowledge and transfer of it. So there is a need of creating competitive advantage through the creation and transfer of knowledge. So that is the gist of this particular session. That is which we don't see, and that's why we cannot see innovation in our country or any of the business ideas which is being created. Only few in hand, but still we have to develop a lot. So thanks a lot, sir, for your wonderful session and the concept which you have discussed with all of us. We are really inspired because of your discussion and your presentation. We will definitely take into consideration while we think about bringing up or create a business of our own. Because the students have already listened to you. They are going to adopt it, your model, and they have already understood it. Thank you very much, sir. And I thank the coordinator, the director of Training and Research Center, Professor Antony, for organizing such a wonderful program. So thank you very much, sir. Then for the students and the participants who have been through all through the program, I thank all of you. So have a wonderful evening.
Thank you. Thank you for your kindly words. Thank you for the opportunity. And I'm here available if you or your colleagues in your university and the faculty on the India and the different countries needs to use the Spin Innovation Model, I can help you. Thank you very much. And thank you for all the agents, all the audience from India to stay here with us, to listen to me, to share my research and my experience in innovation at the university. Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you very much. I'm very proud to stay here. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ronnie. And once again, I would like to thank all the students as well as all the faculty members who have joined for this program. Thank you, everyone. I can see a lot of teachers from various colleges, nearby colleges and universities have joined with us. So I extend our sincere thanks to all the participants, especially the students as well as the faculty members from the near institutions of St. Albans. So thank you very much once again. Thank you.
Thank you, and bye-bye. See you for all.
Bye-bye.
Have a nice day, and congratulations for the event. Very good.